Two words today: novelty and reality. Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 10-minute toward day 3 of Devarim, and we are in Devarim chapter 2. Let's read the first 3 verses that says, "Then we turned and set out into the wilderness, the way of the Sea of Reeds, as Yahweh spoke to me, and we went round Mount Seir many days. And Yahweh spoke to me, saying, You have gone around this mountain long enough. Turn northward." Change can be a very unsettling thing, almost a disastrous thing, depending on the circumstances, but it can also be very exciting. I've got a grandson that is moving this year into middle school, attending a school he's never been to before. And the other day, as we were discussing his new venture in education, new location, new way of doing things, I related to him my experience going into high school. In those days, high school began in the 8th grade. Never been to the school before, never went inside the building before. A much larger student body than I was accustomed to being a part of. And I remember walking in and just kind of following the crowd and seeing what I was supposed to do. Change was a little unsettling that day, but I figured it out. And somewhere in the middle of the first month or so, though, the novelty of new things, the wearing of new clothes or the meeting of new friends, etc., it began to wear off, and homework set in, hence reality. When we first began to discover perhaps the validity of the Torah, and we returned to studying the scriptures based on a Hebraic viewpoint, realizing this text from one cover to the next is written from such a viewpoint, and that we need to look at it through a different set of eyes than our Western eye set. The nuggets, the gold nuggets, I call them, the little exciting insights began to show up, and our eyes pop open. And I remember the days of initially starting down this means of study, and I would grab the side of my face and kind of hold my brain in type thing, mouth hung open, eyes wide open, not just overwhelmed at what I was finding out in the Word. After preaching the Word for decades and studying it since my childhood, when did they put this in there? I never saw this before. Those were the days of novelty. Learning to blow the shofar, and then finding out what the meaning of the sounds of the shofar were all about. Buying your first tallit, and learning the significance of praying in your inner closet, as Yeshua instructed, and pulling it over your head and closing the tent flaps, and you and the Creator of the universe are in a tent together, and you don't have to yell at the ceiling to be heard. You can whisper because you're panim al panim, you are face to face. What an amazing revelation. The first Shabbat experiences, and sitting at a table and praying the prayers of the bread and the cup, and tears rolling down your face as you realize the beauty of what you're entering into. If we're not careful, however, the novelty will be replaced by a routine, a ho-hum, routine of things, habit of things, just a repeating of what we've always done, and we've lost the freshness. By comparison, I remember the days of having a guest speaker hold a revival in a church that I was pastoring. And they preached differently. They had a different style. They had different message content. They had a different approach. And my people were responding to that and being encouraged by that. And I saw fresh energy come into the congregation. After they left, now I'm back in the pulpit, and what do? Do I become more like them to maintain the previous energy, or am I supposed to be myself? Do I have to change what I'm doing to maintain the momentum of everything? Eventually, the novelty of new and exciting will be worn off, and what we're left with is day-to-day reality. However, the reality of life does not have to be boring. It does not have to be mechanical. It does not have to be just a habit of things. It's the same as in any relationship, especially a marital relationship. You get out of that what you put into it. If you want excitement, if you want vigor, if you want responses that are life-giving, then you have to offer the same. So, what I'm saying to you is, Moshe heard these words, you've gone around the circle long enough. The routine is long enough. It's time to change. However, when they went into the land, it wasn't everyday excitement. There was just days where you did what you were supposed to do. I want you to consider Daniel. We read the story of Daniel, and we see him receiving prophecies. We see him in the lion's den, interpreting the writing on the wall, receiving messengers to come and give him revelation. But let's also understand this. Daniel spent, if I'm not mistaken, some 70 years perhaps in Babylonian bondage, and he never got back to Israel. There were many days where the day was full of get up, go about your routine of the day, pray 3 times today, but also take care of governmental business. And there were no messengers showing up. There were no spiritual climactic moments. It was another day in the course of life. What we read about is the highlight reel. You cannot live life like a highlight reel. It might be overwhelming to us if we did. There are days where the job of righteousness and purity and serving the Most High is to get out of bed, go to your job, do your job well, do it as unto the Messiah, be encouraging, watch the manner of your walk before the eyes of others, come home, be with your family, eat your foods, and go to sleep. And while that may sound boring and everyday, in the simple things, in the everyday walk, Yah can smile on us and say, well done, good and faithful servant. And when you're faithful in these small matters, the day-to-days, I know that I can call on you for those exceptional, out of the ordinary moments, and you will respond with belief, with trust, and you'll simply do what I ask you to do. Consistency is far better than momentary excitement. And we all need the adrenaline rush now and again. We all want to experience a momentary input of special power or presence. We all need those emotional releases where we enter into his presence and we're broken before him or encouraged by him. We all need someone sometimes to text or phone us or email or stop by and just give us a lift and be that vessel yourself. But we don't live on that. There has to be the ability to turn from our momentaries into our consistencies. And Yah's power and strength will help us. Serving Yah does not have to be boring. It doesn't have to be ho-hum. You get out of it what you put into it. So give him your all, be faithful, and watch what happens next. And hopefully next I'll see you again tomorrow. To then, shalom.